Hey everyone, Joe Manier. Welcome back. If you followed through the last video, we built out in our database a bunch of different yoga classes so that we can actually have something to build onto the page when it comes time, which now is the time to get going and build these tiles or cards or panels onto our homepage. So how do we do that? Well, let's bounce over into our design editor here in Bubble. And what we're going to do is, if you remember, these were just kind of visual cues to show that we're navigating correctly. I'm going to go ahead and turn this into like a usable group where we will, okay, cool, take up this whole space. We might get a little bit higher depending on how many elements we have on the page and what have you. But basically, what is this? Well, this is kind of a grouping container to put all of our stuff in, our stuff for everything that shows up on this homepage. So I've grabbed a little text element here and brought it out to the middle top area. Looks like I got a couple text elements. All right, we want Lotus Yoga. Grabbed a little just Google search to grab an emoji. Our lovely logo, and it's pretty light colored. And when you look at it on here, yeah, it's almost pure white. And then it's a little bit smaller. Let's bring it down a touch. I'm gonna go ahead and just give these some pretty standard numbers for spacing, 2020, and that means 280 to get it center horizontally. Then we'll go this as well. Okay, so we've got a little something going. Next up, got a thing called What's New. Here we're dealing with 18. I'm going to go with 16, slightly smaller. So every time I get text on, there's two. Surprise. One of the things you could do, you could insert dynamically this data. We have the title of this section, Picks for You, in one of our database entries. But I'm going to show you that you can also just say Picks for You, put it down there, right? Super basic and easy. Grab the same FOFO. Whoop. Jeez. Trouble today. Okay, we're going to manually type this in. What is going on, folks? FO. Okay. What? Does that fix it? No, we just got something super strange going on with the colors today. Oh, maybe just the way things are spaced. Okay, picks for you. Make sure that's at 20. Keep our margins pretty good. And that doesn't need to be so large. Okay, so we've got roughly the start of this page. Next up, this panel. That we're going to use this thing called a repeating group, drop it onto the page, and what a repeating group does is just takes a list of things, many things that are similar, right? I mean, rows and columns are so common on the web and in layouts and just lists of things. And what we're going to do though is we want a horizontal scrolling one with no dashes separation, and we're going to take this out to about maybe 300. See what we got, and then we noted before when we were looking at this, it's like maybe half the length of the page down, maybe a touch longer. So we'll plop it about right there. Give it a nice round number. Okay. So how do we get from our database? This is kind of like row one, and we had these bundles. We want to get all the ones with bundle one into, here's the design panel, into this repeating group. So we're going to grab the yoga classes. So it's like kind of question and answer can help us understand this a little bit better. Like, what should we display in here? Well, we should display classes. Okay, cool. Which of these classes, back to our database, which of these classes should we display? Well, we should display, like you to do within those classes, a search for classes where the bundle number is equal to, now this is where it gets a little bit strange. We want to find the bundles that equal 1. So those bundles, I keep going to the wrong spot. Those bundles that equal 1, we needed it to like resolve to a number in this little chain of logic thing that we had going on here. It looks like we still haven't resolved it fully, but in this, up one level, this is the number 1. Anything that has that value of 1, we've got that. And then on this one, search for those bundles, and we want those bundles bundle number. No, what do we want? I think we want those bundles. All right, let's think for a second. What we already defined, like one level up from here, is that all the bundles that are equal to 1 should show up here. And I think we'll just try this for the first item. And the way that we can tell if we've got stuff right is we're going to pop an image into here, and then that'll get something displaying on the page. So I'm going to take this image, bring it up to about there. And then where does this image, what should we put in here? Well, we should put the current cell's thumb photo. And we'll go ahead and, I think, stretch it so that it fits it if it needs to be any bigger. And then we'll take a look. We'll just see what we got going on. Yeah, cool. So what has gone on here? We have, looks like we need a little bit of spacing, but what we've done is we've gone and we've grabbed, just to kind of figure out again what this repeating group is displaying. It is, and not super important to know all of these steps, but if you're ever on your own trying to get something to display just right, we've got a bundle that equals 1, and we just want to take the bundle number, first item, which is 1. So now we know that the classes that have, if we bounce to our database, the classes that have bundle number equaling to 1, those ones will show up in this element, which is what we see over here. This 1, 2, 3. This orange one is the third one. So let's see if we can look in our database. Yeah. So this more about asanas. It's the third one that we've built here. And if we wanted to rearrange these, sorry if it's really, really tiny here, but I'm looking at these thumbnails. If we wanted to rearrange, maybe have this orange one first, we could define some other type of field, and then we could we could sort it by, when it was created or when it was modified, or by, some different thing. We could give it like, row order. Okay, let's keep moving. And what else is going into this? We've got like a little white bar here, title, the level of difficulty, the flexibility, and then the minutes. So let's get those visual elements onto the page. Oh yeah, I also noticed this thing needs to be like maybe 260 because we want to give it a little bit of padding. There. Yeah. Let's go ahead and bring this all the way up to the top. So the next thing we want, take a shape, and we'll make that shape. It's already pretty white, but we want it to be, what, 260. This image is 140. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a name. I'm gonna call it image row 1 feeding group. All right, let's do some damage. Let's make some progress. This is 140. We want it to be 140 down, 260 wide, no, 240. Okay, well, 260. There's, let's see, E for the height. Looks pretty good compared to this. And one of the things we want to do is give background style. We want to define each border independently. The bottom right, we're going to go 10. The bottom left, we're going to go 10. We're going to do the same thing on this image. Take the style, define each border independently. The top left, give it a roundness of 10. Top right, roundness of 10. Let's just see what we're looking at now. All right, cool. It's roughly, you can see from here we're making pretty good progress. In fact, this one looks a lot bigger still than it does here on this phone. So are we going to bother with that? Yeah, look how high that image is. So let's take this down, say there. I added 50 to it, so let's go 90 and then add 50 to this image. 90. Okay, what else? Get some text going. And we want this to be pretty dark, bold. Maybe 18 might be too big, but we'll see. And what do we want this to have? We want some dynamic data. We want the current cell's title. So what's the title of this class? Give us that. I think I'm going to go 16 here. So make sure we have space for that. What do we got? We got 260. Send it to the back. Show this thing. So let's give. Yeah, okay. So if we do 30, what I want to do is I want to have these pretty good, so I can use this thing called center horizontally. But I want to do it on all the elements, and then let the responsive engine kind of do its thing. So if we're on phones that are different sizes, so I just want to take a moment to get this pretty accurate. So we're looking at 260. We want 10 on each side, so we want that thing to be 240. Yep, that'll do it. And then, so we'll center that horizontally, center this horizontally, send it to the back, center this horizontally. Looking pretty good. Grab another one of these. Now we want, we don't want it to be bold. We want it a little bit smaller, some kind of gray. And we want it to be not the title, but the difficulty level. I believe, yep, they have that listed first. And then just gonna do space. If you do option 8, you get a little bullet. And then another space. No, wait, come on now. Space, bullet, space. Right, yep, okay, and then it's like the current cells category. So flexibility, vinyasa, whatever it happens to be. I'm going to make this smaller yet still, just so that we can be sure. Let's go 13. We can be sure that it fits. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's decent. And notice, yeah, I just want to point out that we have a third item in here. It's having trouble to show up, and there's a little trick to that. We might as well go take a look. Um, I'm going to add. So there are some helpful things out there to forums. This guy, Shot, has so gracefully provided a script that will load some stuff, upon page load. And another guy provided, Mr. Boston 85719, this to take away the scroll bars on these so that when you're on this page, we're not seeing any right now, but at times, and just depending on what devices, different devices have different browsers handle scroll bars differently. And because we are in a non-native, like non-iOS native, non-Android native, meaning we're doing this without code, which is amazing, but we're not writing in Java or Swift or I guess whatever the latest iOS lingo is. We are, yeah, so we're going to do a little bit of finagling is the technical term. All right, so let's start out with this guy. Take these styles, plop them into this HTML element, and then take this script. And if you're new to a bubble, there is a forum with a huge wealth of knowledge, tons and tons of amazing folks who are collaborating on this awesome journey of no coding. Really, really great spot to spend some time and up your game in bubble, and also get some answers to questions if you run into anything. So this repeating group ID, this is this thing, and this ID attribute, you might have to go into your settings and under general, if you're not seeing this, if you're like, where is this ID attribute you speak of, then you need to come over to this area and say expose the option to add an ID element to HTML elements. Make sure that that is checked, and then that way you will also see this ID attribute at the bottom. And we want that ID attribute to be, I don't know, we'll just call this repeating group yoga. And we'll take that and we will add that to our repeating group. So that way it knows to get this thing all set up. Awesome. We're making good progress. Cruising along. What do we got here? Yeah, so that third one loads much quicker and better. And can't tell this one little pixel. No, it's pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one. I'm going to go up one. Just if there's any, make sure that's the front, make sure that's the back. It looks like we could use a bigger title here, as well as, and it looks like these things could also, yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. I think though, I want to make these 20 smaller because that'll give some more padding on both sides when we center horizontally. And I feel like they could be a little bit more space. Cool. So let's look back here. Yeah, flowing into splits, intermediate flexibility. We still need the length, so let's tackle that. Yeah, looking great. Okay, notice that these images, yeah, they're a little bit stretched up and down. You could change some of these. You could rescale it. What would that do? But basically the best thing, yeah, so that gives a little bit of space between these things, which we don't want, but the images look so nice. So what's the solution to that? Well, the solution is to have images that are like exact proportions to what the, when we look at this thing, it is 260 by 190 pixels. Clearly our images are not that exact same. So you could do some image editing you could use a open source thing like GIMP, GIMP, or to change the photo sizes and do some editing, or Photoshop, or find a friend to help. What do we got here? We've got we got something that's looking pretty good. I think maybe a touch more space, and then we'll call it good. Notes. And then we're going to want to have a group. We'll see why in a second. This group, we'll start out white just so we can see it for sake of. Okay. This looks good enough. This group, the type of content is going to be, and we want the Princess Yoga class as the data source for this group. What we're basically doing is that, we're where'd it go? We're giving this white shape, group yoga class app. We're going to call this class length group. And then we're going to pop some text into it. We're using a group because it's great to get these things center horizontally, and then it's the height of 18. I'm going to take it down to 16, and I'm going to center vertically. The height of this is 16, so we want 12 or maybe 14, but we want the line spacing so it can fit. And then we want the length of the class's length, and we want to hit space in the minutes to add a little note there. So I think we were going to want this. Well, let's see. We might want it wider. And awesome work hanging in. We're closing in on finishing off this top part. We'll do another video. We'll hit this bottom part, and that'll be it for our homepage. So 18 minutes. Yeah, we got to make that. We got to make this wider. Let's go like 80. It's really wide, but maybe it's good. 60. Center horizontally. Just see where that brings us. Then we'll. Okay, so we didn't need it that much. I forget what we were at before. Just hit the back button here. 36. Looks like we only needed to go up to 40. We'll say 44 to be safe. That's 44. And we had 60 here. Center horizontally. So let's go ahead and take this to white. And then this one, maybe 60% transparency on it. See what that does for us. Should be pretty close. Bring this up 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So that looks pretty good for the timer, for the length. They have it even a little bit darker and a little less padding around it. They also have the edges of it rounded, so let's go ahead and do that. Probably like 5. And they're more like 80. And then I think that. Gets us pretty good. Yeah, great. Yeah, so not clickable yet, but pretty good functionality so far. So I'm going to call it good here for this video. And then in the next one, have a break, and then show you how to get those next couple rows in here. We're going to use something a little bit special, similar to this, but something that will plop 1, 2, 3 down automatically out of the database, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 over for each of these new sections. So see you in the next video.